Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to go over everything I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K in the month of January 2020. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I will put a link for that in the description. Okay, so another month is in the books, and it was coming off of December, so while it wasn't a particularly heavy month as far as releases go, it still was pretty consistent throughout. Also, just, a fair amount, I would say probably a lot more Blu-rays this month than normally we get. Usually we get a nice little healthy balance between the two, but I would say Blu-ray was primarily what was available out there in stores. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump into everything I picked up this month. A little bit of catalog, not too much for me personally. It was just one of those months. You're coming off the holidays and that sort of thing, so you're still recovering financially. But February and March are both going to be pretty heavy as far as hauls go, so definitely stay tuned for that. And all right, let's go. One of the things I picked up, and this was directly related to my time over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. We talk about the movies over there all the time, and this was a recent review we did, and it just happened to go on sale for like $5, so I couldn't pass it up. That would be The Great Mouse Detective, one of the mid-80s Disney offerings. I really enjoyed it. It was kind of like right before they had that renaissance, with Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, before all that stuff started really exploding onto the scene. This was literally like 2 years before that. So it really just was getting right at that moment when Disney was revisiting, like, or just re-energizing itself as a company, as far as animated features go. But yeah, definitely check it out. It's really cool. It's got some good stuff. Vincent Price plays the villain, and he's great in it. They're also releasing a Funko Pop collection of the characters from this movie, so it's just kind of funny that timing for that one. But yeah, definitely check out The Great Mouse Detective. One of my favorite movies of last year. It was a lot of fun. Well, it's definitely not a fun movie, but it's very enjoyable. It's very atmospheric, and it's just really cool. And I recently revisited this one. It still holds up really nicely. That is The Lighthouse with Robert Eggers, directed by Robert Eggers. And come on, this is probably one of the most atmospheric movies of last year. And it's just Willem Dafoe, Robert Pattinson are excellent in it. They're our only characters that we see on screen, and they do such a great job. It's just one of those movies. It's pretty awesome. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do so for The Lighthouse. It's a high recommendation. This one, Jexy, pick that one up. It's a dumb comedy. And now I will say, though, I remember enjoying it quite a bit in the theater. And when I rewatched it again for my review, I don't think it held up quite as well. The jokes are still there, but I guess because that initial punch is gone, it just kind of wasn't as memorable the second time. It's just one of those movies that happens, but it's still entertaining. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, at least rent it. Adam Devine's pretty good in it, and it's a silly premise, but it's still entertaining, at least for one watch. So yeah, definitely check out Jexy. This one, of course, I had to get because I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith. The Jay and Silent Bob reboots. Absolutely, just it's not his best film, but it's definitely it's definitely a Kevin Smith movie. It has its flaws, but it's still like really entertaining. The characters have all aged significantly since then, and there's for me personally, there's a really great moment towards the end of the third act of the movie when they meet up with Mr. Affleck, and I dug that whole scene. I thought it kind of spoke to me personally, but yeah, definitely check out Jay and Silent Bob reboot. There's the magic is still there. It's just, I think Kevin Smith has kind of matured a little bit as a filmmaker, and it shows here on screen to a degree, but it's still, we're expecting a couple more films in this universe, so hopefully, we'll see what we get down that line. I enjoyed this one in the theaters. They did a 4K digital version of this one, and I really wish they would have done a 4K physical copy. The Addams Family, the animated feature, I dug it. I was more a fan of the characters than the story. The story is kind of just nothing. There's not a whole lot there to really be entertaining, but whenever the characters are on screen, that's usually a good indication that something cool is going to happen. The voice talent's really good. Charlize Theron, Oscar Isaac, Chloe Grace Moretz, I believe Finn Wolfhard plays Pugsley. So yeah, there's a good cast there. I feel it was a solid movie, but I think the 4K would have added that little extra oomph to the physical release. It sucks that it's only digital, but yeah, it's available, and it's got kind of a cool, nice little, like a holographic like shimmer to it. I really enjoyed when they kind of go the extra mile for these covers. But yeah, I would say I would recommend definitely watching that one. Black and Blue, also Blu Ray only release, no 4K copy for that one, unfortunately, but I enjoyed this one. I love good corrupt cop dramas and just some action. I think it's very entertaining. It's nothing that's going to really blow your socks off, but if you like a good cop corruption story, good acting in it, it's really just a lot of fun to watch just on the screen. I enjoyed it quite a bit, so definitely check out Black and Blue. Now this one's been sitting on my Amazon wish list for a while, and then I was putzing around the forums a little bit, and somebody indicated that it was on sale for like $7.50 or something over on an online retailer. I wasn't expecting to get it, but then I was like, you know what, for $7-8, why not? The Garbage Pail Kids movie, and it came with a slipcover. I couldn't be happier about that. Like growing up, I was a massive, just the Garbage Pail Kids. I even remember I still couldn't get that Atom Bomb card. If you're a fan of the characters, you know what I'm talking about. That when I was growing up, that was like, I must have that card. I never got it. It was like just one of those things. And then it's just every once in a while I get reminded of it. But yeah, Garbage Pail Kids movie. This is a terrible movie. It is absolutely terrible, but it's like the fun terrible. Just get some friends over, pop this in. I guarantee you're gonna have a good time with it. But yeah, it came with a slipcover. I couldn't be more excited. So Garbage Pail Kids, on the cheap, love it. One of my favorite movies of last year, and this one is, I urge you to see it. It's really, it's a good, well-made film. The characters, the story, it's all very compelling. That is Parasite. Definitely check that one. I just did a review this past week on the channel, so look for that one. But yeah, Parasite is awesome. It's probably one of the, I would say, while it may not be my favorite movie of 2019, it's one of the best made movies of 2019, and it's still very entertaining, and it says a lot. I can't wait to see what the director comes up with next. I love this movie. It's really a lot of fun, so just definitely check out Parasite. It's absolutely worth it. Go get this one. Absolutely. All right, this one I did a review for the channel. I liked the story. I thought it was interesting. The Blu-ray looks fantastic. I think because of the overwhelming color palette that this film brings, 4K would have been amazing for this. But I think the Blu-ray was pretty spectacular in its image quality. That is Emma Roberts in Paradise Hills. It's not your usual film. Like there are movies like this one. I don't want to spoil anything, but you definitely want to check it out. I think it's really it's good entertaining. It's different. And for me, that's good. And if it's entertaining and it's different, that's always a good thing. So absolutely check out Paradise Hills. It's cool. It's really cool. And finally, on the Blu-ray side, I just recently rewatched this one, and this did not come with a slipcover. I got this new, and just came out last week, and no slipcover, unfortunately. But Pain and Glory, starring Antonio Banderas, probably one of the best movies I've seen him in, and it's really just a very good. This one actually kind of screams for a Criterion. I could easily see Criterion picking this up in a few years. It's that kind of movie to me. It's it's very film, kind of avant-garde type movie, but it's got a very compelling story. It doesn't go exactly where you think it's going to go. You kind of they kind of set things up, and you're like, uh-oh, it's going to go this way, but it doesn't really do that. It's really kind of just like, it's a movie about a director that's did like really good films like when he was younger, and then he just kind of just fell off, and he went into a world of depression. A lot of things were happening in his personal life. And it's just an overall, it's a gripping movie. It really is. Absolutely check it out. Antonio Banderas is amazing in it. It's an awesome film. So, all right, that's it for the Blu-rays. Let's dive right into the 4K. Okay, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the 4K, there wasn't a whole lot released this month. It was kind of, it's just one of those things. It happens, but that gets more than made up for in February. There's a ton coming out, and of course March, we're expecting a whole bunch of Disney, the Star Wars films are coming out, so it's really kind of January's just being January, but there's still some cool 4K stuff we're going to talk about. First one, I just did a review for this on the channel, so check that one out if you want to hear my thoughts on the picture quality, audio, and all that stuff, is Terminator Dark Fate. For me personally, it didn't work as far as the movie goes. I would have changed a few things. I know I've talked about that in my reviews of the movie, but I think it had some potential. Of course it did, but it just, for me personally, wasn't a great Terminator film. Also, I think they missed the boat a little bit on the Steelbook edition. It's too glossy. I think I would have done like embossing on the Rev 9 here, and just kind of, it would have made it stand out a little bit, but it's very basic. I mean, I like the design. It's just, I think it could have elevated just a little bit more, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, Terminator Dark Fate, Gemini Man, Will Smith. This one really has divided a lot of people, and I understand why. It's because of the frame rate situation. It's not my preferred viewing. I'm a 24 frames per second kind of guy. But I still, you know, it's just one of those that it's worth watching. It's kind of a throwback to a 90s action film. It's nothing that's going to light your world on fire, but I think the movie gets a lot of unfair hate, but I think a lot of it is directed towards the frame rate, which is, you know, unfortunate. I wish there was an option on there to turn it off. But you kind of get the best of both worlds here, because it does come with a 4K digital copy, and that is locked in, the digital copy is locked in at 24. So if you just want to watch the movie for the movie, you could do it that way. Or if you don't mind the high frame rate, you can watch it this way. So you do have options. Just keep that in mind. There are options for this one, and there is actually a 3D import that's going to be arriving here sometime in February. We're definitely going to be reviewing for that one for the channel, so look out for that one. But yeah, I think the movie itself is fine. But yeah, I can understand the controversy on the frame rate. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. You know, the first one was okay. It never really, you know, did much for me, but I actually kind of like this one a little bit more. But I guess my big complaint is it felt like Angelina Jolie was really kind of taking a back seat to this one. It wasn't. She was featured, but it just felt like she had a reduced role. Something was off. Something was definitely off about this one, but story-wise, I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I liked it a lot more than the first one. I don't even think I've revisited the first one in quite some time, but yeah, it's worth checking out. Steelbook is pretty nice, but that is currently available if you want to check it out. This one, yes, the live-action Jungle Book, Jon Favreau's. I love this movie. I think the 3D is still top notch and is probably my preferred way to watch it. But the 4K colors, HDR, they all look great on this one. And it's a good movie. It's really good. It's one of the Disney live actions that actually works out really well. You know, considering that he also directed The Lion King, which I felt played it way too much safe in that department, wasn't nearly as good as it could have been. I think the Jungle Book, it took enough liberties to make it its own thing, and now we have it on 4K. I love it. I still enjoy watching 3D on occasion, but yeah, Jungle Book, absolutely worth checking out on 4K. Zombieland 2. I love it when Steelbooks match each other, because they at least went out of their way to kind of match up the first one. And I very much appreciate this one. I watched this one again, of course, during the review, but it's like, I still kind of stand by. I felt they leaned too much into the comedy on this one, and they kind of dialed back the zombie horror aspects. As I recently rewatched the first one, and I'm like, that's a nice balance. I enjoyed that one. As far as like, it kind of split it really even. This one I felt it went a little too much on the other way, but it's still a good film. It's still a lot of fun. It was great seeing all the characters back again. Hopefully we'll get a round 3 at some point, maybe not in another 10 years. But yeah, I enjoy Zombieland. Double tap. It looks great. Awesome. I did a review for the channel if you want to check out my thoughts on the quality. But yeah, it's really cool looking Steelbook. One of my favorites so far. And last but certainly not least is the Joker. The Joker in 4K is here. I've seen this thing like 5 times since the initial theatrical run. It's still good. It's really good. Yes. Is it a, kind of a homage to Taxi Driver, Kings of Comedy? Yes, it's definitely there. But I think it's fine. It works independently on its own. And, Joaquin Phoenix is great. He'll probably end up winning the Oscar, so we can look forward to that next week. But as far as the film itself goes, I think it's really good. I think it's well done, and I think more or less it surprises me considering Todd Phillips did it. And I have him in The Hangover in my back of my mind. It's great that these comedy directors can actually go in and do good, films. And I think it's a really good film. I like Joker a lot. But yeah, and the Steelbook I'm not overly crazy about, but I am a Steelbook guy. But it's still, I think, a really decent looking, as far as the steel goes. But it's fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, not a whole lot going on in the 4K area. It's just January slowdown, but it's picking back up again at full steam. February is looking crazy. So let me know in the comments below, what did you pick up in January 2020? Go ahead, let's talk about it in the comments. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.